Hello and welcome to Dimsy's Domain. Now this is a discussion video talking about Hit vs Monaka, the most anticipated fight in Dragon Ball Super thus far. Will it live up to the hype? Why has it even garnered such hype? And what are the future prospects after the tournament itself? We're going to be touching on that quite briefly. And today I'm joined by another excellent YouTuber who you should definitely be subscribed to for an informative and a fresh view on any topic he discusses. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Real to Real. Thank you for having me, Dimsy.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. So the question is Monaka versus Hit. Now these two characters have been introduced in a way which are very different to what we're used to in Dragon Ball in general, in terms of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, or even Dragon Ball GT. Why do you think the fan base has taken such a liking to Hit especially? Let's start off with Hit, who is also touted as the legendary Hitman. Would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of, if we just want to break this down like character for character,
yeah,
I actually think like Hit is one of these really interesting characters. Not only out of the 5 characters that we got to meet in this new tournament arc, Hit is kind of the person who really stands out. As I've talked about in other videos, we have basically a rehash of Frieza, another good Saiyan, and then Magetta and Botamo, who were basically just kind of joke characters, even though Magetta has really kind of shown himself to be kind of a formidable like guy in episode 35. But Hit looks kind of badass, kind of a Namekian, Cell, cooler type of really cool, like definitely Toriyama final villain design.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are really drawn to him. And then in episode 35, we actually got to see a really big glimpse of his power, and we got a big part of his backstory kind of revealed. And obviously, like, that is something that we've actually never really seen in Dragon Ball. Not like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super. We actually saw, you know, Hitmen and assassins and ninjas and all that stuff in Dragon Ball, the original. And I think, like, it's really an interesting thing because it's kind of a melding of everything that we've seen in Dragon Ball thus far. And he could be like something that's really antagonizing, very strong and everything, and I can't wait to see more about him. He's absolutely the one person that I am just on pins and needles just waiting to watch and see and learn more about.
I completely agree in the fact that yes, the way he was introduced, and everyone is excited from the 5 characters from Universe 6 that we were introduced to and who are touted as these new characters. He obviously stood out. Now in terms of his character design, yes, he looks far cooler. Not to make a pun. Okay, he looks far more extravagant. He is more appealing to the eye in comparison to the others. Whereas, you know, we had Botamo who looked like a Winnie the Pooh character, and Magetta who everyone wrote off. I wrote him off in terms of, I'm like, oh, he's a big bulky character. He's not going to show much promise. Now, what we saw here do to Frost really was an eye opener, and it does show, although Frost is nowhere near as close in terms of strength and power level to Goku and Vegeta, but the way and the ease at which he disposed him was something to marvel at. Now, if I were to quickly move on to Monaka is this very large nipple character. What they call him? What the big Ponta? Yeah. So the thing is, I spoke with World King Kanji. Make sure to check this guy out. He told me that maybe having the larger nipples extruding from his body was to emphasize the fact that how skinny he is. He looks very malnourished. He looks very skinny, and he's also quite short. Add to the fact that in Dragon Ball we had Master Roshi, where his spine used to somehow sometimes be drawn as more pointy, therefore exaggerating how skinny he is. Monaka is also exaggerated to be very skinny, as well as his attire, which makes him look quite silly. So the fact is that Monaka is the complete antithesis of what Hit looks like in terms of character design. Hit is a very cool looking character, whereas Monaka he's not the most appealing to the eye. You put him to any other, if you show that character to other anime fans or even Dragon Ball fans who haven't been exposed to Super yet, they're gonna be like, who is this guy, man? This guy he looks like a joke. If you show them Hit, they're gonna be like, wow, this guy looks really cool. Now add to the fact about Beerus hyping him up. Now I'll let you speak more about that, but Beerus hyping him up, saying that look, let him go last. It does beckon the question that how strong is he, and is this a lie, is this a bluff, or is he really that strong? Would you like to add on the fact that, you know, Hit's little build up, how he's been built up by Beerus?
You know, when it comes to Monaka, I think you're absolutely right, especially for his appearance. If I can just briefly talk about that, where you have this guy who looks just like super thin, big nipples, just kind of like a joke character. And I know a lot of people have talked about will he have a transformation? Will he not have a transformation? I really hope that he doesn't, just because with Dragon Ball, it's kind of a trope for him like to have a transformation, to have like a much stronger appearance or presence or anything like that. Hopefully he doesn't, but we're gonna have to see one way or another.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Quickly, just quickly add in about the transformation side of it. You'd expect him to have a transformation from that little monster we encountered in episode 2, and if it seems like they are going out the way in Dragon Ball Super to move away from transformations, where what was Dragon Ball Z known for? Muscles, smack dead, muscles, smash mouth. But the thing is, with the Super Saiyan God transformation, where he becomes more leaner, it's quite a move. It's a move away from the whole extravagant transformation upon transformation. And yeah, I agree with the fact that I don't think there's going to be a transformation. Yeah, sorry to butt in there.
No, it's absolutely fine. And just to go off that a little bit more in terms of like him being small, I don't want to take too long on this, but in terms of him being very small, I feel like Monaka is one of those things that's kind of quintessential Toriyama and stuff. You've already mentioned Master Roshi. I've also mentioned this in the past with Frieza and Boo and everything. You have these villains or even antagonists or protagonists that are very weak looking, who end up being like probably the strongest person on Earth, like the same way Master Roshi was in Dragon Ball prior. So there is a big possibility that like his appearance is just trying to like fool a lot of people, but at the same time you have Beerus just going way out of his way. Oh, Beerus is a good example of that too, just very, very skinny. He's going way out of his way to just completely go in and say, look, this guy is super strong, you shouldn't get him mad. You feel like he can think about it. Once he gets his mind set on something, he's just going to like ram it down everyone's throat. And I have a really big problem with that. And if we can get like a little bit into this fight, obviously we have Vegeta still in the match, and I have a hard time believing that Vegeta is actually going to lose to Kaba or Magetta. Obviously he's going to beat Magetta, but I don't think he's going to lose to Kaba. And then we have, he's going to obviously go into the final round with Hit. And now, I feel like this is where Dragon Ball is going to start falling into its usual tropey self, where it's either Krillin or Piccolo or Vegeta or someone else. It's the Worfe effect, and if you want to say, you should definitely put this in the description below. Mozilla Vulpix, Gabby, put an excellent video about the Worfe effect, and if you don't know what that is, you should definitely go and check that one out. But it's this thing where Dragon Ball falls into this trope a lot, where in order to make a villain or an antagonist look very strong, they'll take out somebody that you know is really strong, someone like Vegeta. And if we look at it we look at what would happen in episode 35, we know that Goku's actually going to be fighting before Monaka, not because he has to, because Beerus is making him. And I just have a really hard time believing that we're going to see Goku actually come back in this tournament and fight Hit just to be kind of taken out immediately again, and then so we can get up and see this big ol' hyped Hit versus Monaka. So honestly, what I think is going to happen is Vegeta's going to come in, he's going to lose almost exactly like Frost lost, and then Goku, having seen that, and if we look at it for what Super has been, Goku's lost every single fight that he's been in Super. He lost against Beerus, he even lost against Mr. Satan. And in that little filler episode, he lost against Frieza, and he lost against Frost. And that was basically 2 Friezas. I think it's time for Goku to learn his lesson. As soon as he gets inside that ring with Hit, he's going to go Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and he's going to fight with all of his strength and all of his might. And we're going to see a really epic battle, at least I hope, like a finale type battle between Goku and Hit. That's been the advertised fight from the very beginning, and all the advertising is and everything. But he's going to lose. I think he's going to lose, and then we're going to see Monaka get into the ring. And before you say your prediction, do you think that the fact that the way they build up to Hit being involved, where he beats Vegeta, he beats Goku, do you think that's going to be an adequate, as well as Beerus' hyping of Monaka, do you think both of them are adequate ways to hype up both Monaka and Hit? Do you think it's going to work? I think absolutely. In terms of if you go by my prediction, if my prediction ends up being right, then I think absolutely. And not to completely take over this discussion, but just kind of getting my thought out here. I feel like Monaka is going to step up into the ring. Everyone's going to be like, oh man, we totally got this. Like, Beerus has been nothing but just like completely ramming this guy down our throats. Like, this guy he's so strong, he's so powerful. I think it's going to have like an epic stare down. These two are very focused and whatnot. And then Hit's just going to come in, one shot the guy, he's done. Universe 6 wins the tournament.
See, that's the thing. I don't think that's gonna happen. Purely from the fact that Beerus is very competitive. Would he really do that? Does he really have that much faith in Goku and Vegeta to be able to beat all the Universe 6 fighters whilst getting Monaka as a little extra guy? We know that Monaka is from the planet of sweets. Now, why do we think that Monaka is chosen by Beerus? Could there be, as you said off air, and I'm not sure if you've mentioned it here, because so many things are mentioned, but has Monaka beaten Beerus before? We don't know that, do we? So yeah, so from that fact, we really don't know how strong Monaka is, but I think, and I don't know about you guys, make sure to comment down below, but I do think that Monaka is as strong as Beerus has hyped him up, and through him being that strong, he just maybe needs time to get into that mindset. I think he's more of a berserker now. It's kind of weird because Dragon Ball Super thus far in this tournament saga so far has been all about techniques. We saw Piccolo versus Frost being the best example of techniques can maybe overcome certain advantages and disadvantages in strength, these imbalances. Now Monaka, I actually think he's going to be, yeah, we both agree that he's not going to transform. I think that Monaka is going to be pure brute strength and speed, and probably is going to have a big ki blast. Now if I want to predict, and this is going to be an out there prediction, I think he's going to have a lot of ki blasts from his mouth, but yeah, I don't know why I put that in. But the fact is, I think that him being a hitman is going to be all about him being efficient with his blows, with his attacks. The way he tortured Frost was, it seemed as if that he aimed all of his shots so that they don't hit any vital organs. Now I think that hit's going to be taken back, he's going to be very surprised by Monaka's performance after fighting Goku and Vegeta, seeing that there's no real transformation, or there may be a transformation, who knows, maybe a increase in ki, but I think that it's going to be a very hard fought fight and Monaka's going to win. Monaka's going to win, that's just my prediction. And you know what, comment down below if you think, if mine or Real to Real, which one sounds better, because the thing is, think of it like this, what Real to Real did say really does make sense, because if you're talking about the ultimate gag and a build up to an ultimate gag, it would be for Monaka to lose, and it would actually be very, very funny. It would be funny because the hilarity that happens later where Champa and Beerus are arguing, etc. You can see Goku's face, he's expecting so much. You know what, Goku in this situation is pretty much the viewer. He wants to see Monaka fight more than anyone, so he's hyping Monaka. He's very hyped for Monaka versus Hit, and I think that most of the Universe 7 fighters appreciate the fact that Hit is the main man. This guy is the strongest, he looks the strongest, his eyes are always closed. Why are they always closed? But yeah, it's just the fact that I think it's a very hype fight, and I think it's going to be an excellent
I have to say
fight.
this before we cut this whole thing off in turn, or move on to something a little bit more into the future, looking into the future of Dragon Ball Super. I think,
yeah,
and I just want to pose this to everyone listening, if you've gotten this far, I feel like, do you believe that why would Hit lose for a shonen manga anime series? Why would Hit lose, and what would be the purpose after Vados has scoured the entire universe looking for the strongest fighters that she could possibly wrangle together? If Monaka wins, who's from Universe 7 by the way, what would be the purpose of actually staying in Universe 6 going forward?
A quick question, and I think it will be best to add this on. Vados was the one who was searching for the fighters in Universe 6, but it seems like Beerus was the one who pretty much decided who's going to be fighting for Universe 7, and he let Goku and Vegeta dictate who's going to be the members. But he was insistent that Monaka were to fight. Why didn't Whis be the one to choose who fights?
Well, I feel like there's a genuine difference between that of Champa and Beerus. The one thing that they've really shown a whole lot of is the fact that Champa doesn't really care. He's a very just kind of passive god of destruction, whereas Beerus is this kind of the same way, but he takes his job somewhat seriously when he's not sleeping. It's definitely a really great contrast. But if we're looking forward into the future of Dragon Ball Super, I feel like Universe 6 honestly kind of has to win in order for there to be a genuine reason to kind of go in and explore that universe. Goku has not been interested in Universe 6 this whole time because of Monaka, because Monaka has been said to be just as strong as Beerus. And for what Goku came in having seen, and even having fought the first two contestants of the tournament, Monaka is still the top tier person that he needs to see, and Monaka resides in Universe 7. To know that Monaka is not the strongest person, in fact, actually considerably weaker than Beerus himself, then that might give a little credence to Goku and Vegeta actually staying in Universe 6 and exploring a little bit more, or having like some kind of drive to get us into Universe 6 or any of the other universes. I don't think that Universe 6 losing the tournament gives us enough driving force to continue the series.
The thing is, I think I'm gonna contrast your view, the fact that I think that Universe 7 are going to win, and with them winning, it's going to open the doors to having good relations with Universe 6. We see between the arcs that there's around 4 to 5 episodes where it's very transitional, and for me these are the most enjoyable and the best episodes. And in these episodes you can see Goku and Vegeta visiting Planet Salad, visiting other planets, visiting, you know, and exploring the whole, maybe the Universe 6 Saiyan nature. But I don't expect that. I'm not gonna be too optimistic in that regard. However, what I do think is going to happen, regardless of whatever happens in the tournament, and this is why I think that Universe 7 is going to win, is that it's going to conclude and lead to the fact that Goku and Vegeta are going to be somewhat universal nomads, where between Universe 6 and Universe 7 they can explore freely between Universe 6 and Universe 7, because they've built a relationship. They've come to know both Gods of Destructions, both retainers, both attendants for the Gods of Destructions. They've you know what, they're up there with the big boys. Yeah, they're at the top of the league, so they're allowed to move freely. And in that sense, and we don't know if there's going to be another villain afterwards, and we all know your theory, who's going to be the final villain. Yeah,
I feel like, in terms of, I just feel like if the discussion is about Hit versus Monaka, I really do like the idea, and if we can talk about my theory for just a second, I do like the idea of maybe there being some understanding or something between Hit and Vados being the main villain. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Obviously, while he might have been aware that she was watching, she was definitely keeping herself hidden, which that's in episode 35.
One thing I do want to add is that I do think that Vados has exchanged dialogue with each and every one of the Universe 6 fighters. Mm-hmm. So that gives water to your theory, and it makes it more plausible that maybe Hit and Vados are in cahoots with each other.
Perhaps. And the thing is that we don't necessarily know. And one of the things that's the main point of my theory is I don't necessarily understand why Champa's been looking for at least years. In the manga it's said decades. He's been scouring the two universes looking for these Super Dragon Balls. It makes no sense that he's able to give them away or make the wish just to swap worlds. I mean, he obviously didn't have that thought going forward. So why has he been looking for these things? Why is he kind of doing this? And I kind of feel like Vados would be a really interesting kind of way to develop and build the series going forward, especially if there's a genuine threat that no one can really stand up to, not even Whis himself, going forward. And so they have to kind of go in and take maybe shelter in Planet Salad or some other thing, and kind of resolve their differences so much to the point where these Universe 6 characters who kind of have their own related abilities kind of become useful in one way or another, and they're not just side characters like almost every other Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball GT participants in a tournament. You know, I want these people to have some kind of effect going forward, especially Hit or Kaba.
Yeah, and to add to that theory and that thought process is the fact that this is where the Universal Battle Gods tournament really doesn't matter who wins and who doesn't win. Although I did say Universe 7 is going to win, but it does seem like if there is going to be a villain who's going to precede this tournament or precede this arc, either way I do see these characters from Universe 6 playing a more prominent role than the side characters we have already, simply from the fact that these new characters are at a higher echelon of power, therefore they can be somewhat more relevant to, let's say, I don't know, Chaozu or someone. But yeah, I guess to conclude, Hit and Monaka, is it worth the hype?
Honestly, I don't think so. I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna stick to my guns and say that this is going to be something where they're hyping it up just for like that last final gag in the entire series or the entire arc of this series or something.
Yeah, fair enough. Then I think it's worth the hype. The way these two characters have been built in such a different way. One where we've seen evidently how powerful or how cool or how stoic, because both of these characters are very stoic with their facial expressions, but how strong and how calculating Hit is, and how mysterious Monaka is. And in that sense, it makes me excited, and I do think they are going to live up and capitalize on both of these characters. So these are two contrasting little theories and thought processes for myself and Real to Real. What are your thought processes? What are your comments for this discussion? And thank you very much if you have stuck around this far. A big thank you to Real for joining me on this discussion. So yeah, so any final words, Real to Real?
No, thank you, Dempsey. This has been really a fun discussion. I hope it's not been too long for people not to get through it, but definitely been a fun discussion.
And if you have been sticking around for too long, I do implore all of you to check out Real to Real. Check out all of his videos. He has the best theories out there, and he explains it very well. So make sure to subscribe to him. You're not allowed to subscribe to me if you're not subscribed to him. Yeah, that's a bit evil of me, but yeah, that's me doing a bit of a BS on you. So please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You may now exit Dimsy's domain. Thank you and goodbye.
Peace.